Hi guys, today I'm going to talk to you about volume of composite figures. And what composite means is it means it's kind of complicated, like two figures kind of put together. So our plan for this is going to figure out what the shapes are. Then we're going to find the volume of each piece, and then we're just going to add them together, and it's just going to be like two problems for the price of one. So let's remember what we did first, which is regular old volume problems. Well, remember if you had a prism, and that could be like a box, or it could be also we had those triangular prisms. And remember, we know they're prisms because there's rectangles all the way around the edge. So these are the types of prisms we talked about. It's going to be, the volume is big B times H, and big B is the area of the base. So we had a shortcut for a box where you could just take length times width times height, but that's because big B is just length times width, and then the height is 5. When you're looking at the triangular prism, you would have to find the big B would be the area of the triangle, because the base is whatever we name it. Remember, it's a triangular prism, then the base would be a triangle. If it's a rectangular prism, the base would be a rectangle. So you can take big B times H. And then we remember if we looked at the pyramids, it was kind of funny because not really what we thought would happen. It took 3 of these pyramids to fill up one rectangular prism. So then it was big B times H, but then you had to divide by 3 because it took 3 of them to fill up one of the boxes that would go all the way around it. So big B is the area of the base. So here it would be, it's a square, but it looks like a rectangle, doesn't it? Times the height, which goes right through the middle, and then you would divide by 3. So we're going to do a little practice. Let's try this guy. This is a box, so there's a shortcut. You can just do length times width times height. So 14 times 5, because that's the same thing as big B, because that's the area of the base, times the height, times 4.5. And we would just type that in our calculator. So it's 14 times 5 times 4.5. I'm typing in my calculator, and I get 315. And because it's volume, it's meters cubed. Now, this pyramid would be a little bit different. It's going to be big B times H divided by 3 because of the point on the top. So big B is the area of the base, which in this case is the square. So you're going to take 8 times 8, which is the area of the square, which is 64, and that's going to be big B. So you're going to take 64 times the height, which is 6, divide by 3, and you will get the volume. You'll type that in your calculator, and I'm getting 128. And this time we're talking about feet cubed. So that's how we did volume. And now we're going to try to put these together for some really complicated looking figures. So look at this guy. It's basically 2 boxes put together. So we're going to find the volume of each piece, and then we're going to add them together. So volume of a box is easy, but you have to be careful because sometimes the dimensions are going to be hard to find. Okay, so let's do the one on the right first. We'll call the one on the right the first prism. So we got to do the length times the width times height. So this times this. Well, it's not 20. Do you see how that's not 20, guys? 20 is the whole bottom. So how much is this? Well, sometimes if you go to the top, you can get a clue, and it is. It's 12. So it's going to be 12 times 4 times the height, which is 15. So 12 times 4 times 15. I'm just typing in my calculator. So that would be 720 for the one on the right. Now, how about the one on the left? Well, if this is 12, what does that leave me for this guy? Well, 12 plus what is 20? That's going to be 8 here. Then you have this length here, which goes to the right, and that's going to be 4. And this height is also 4. So we're going to use 8 times 4 times 4, which is 32 times 4, which is 128. So the one on the right is 720. The one on the left is 128, so you just add the volumes and you get 720 plus 128, and I'm getting 848 meters cubed. That's how much stuff would fit in there. What if we separated them? There they are. I don't know if you can quite see that there. So you can pull them apart, and that's just what we got, but you really have to kind of use your brain to figure out what those missing measurements are. So don't let it trick you up. So let's try this guy. Okay, let's do the one on the right first, because that's what we did last time. We're looking for length times width times height, because this is a box and that's the shortcut. This is not 15. That is, you get it from the top, 10 times the width, which is 7, times the height, which is 4. So 10 times 7 times 4 you're getting 280 for the guy on the right. How about the guy on the left? Length times width times height for him. Well, what is this going to be? Well, that was 10. The whole bottom is 15. This little piece has to be 5. And also, you could get that clue from the top. So that's 5 times the width is still the same. Even though you can't see it, they are all touching. Can you see how they're all touching here? Maybe you can kind of see it right here. That has to be the same as the right, 7. And this time the height is 8. So you take 5 times 7 times 8, and you get 280 again, which is kind of surprising. Maybe it's kind of like sit up on its side a little bit. And then you add them together, 280 plus 280, and you're getting 560 centimeters cubed, because you'll take this plus this. So that's how you do a composite figure. Now, what about this? It's like a barn. So how much can fill up in the barn? Because maybe there's like a storage area up at the top. So this time I have a box on the bottom, and this time I have a triangular prism on the top. Remember, the roof of the house kind of is a triangular prism. So let's do the bottom first. The bottom, or the box, is length times width times height. So that's going to be 25 times 10, and then the height might be tricky. 25 times 10, and it's not that bad at all. It's just 12. So 25 times 10 times 12. Type that in your calculator, and you get 3,000. That's pretty big. Now, how about this guy? This is a prism. That's big B times H. We don't divide by 3 here because it's not a pyramid. You only divide by 3 on the pyramids. So I need to find the area of big B, which is going to be area of the triangle. So what is the area of this triangle? Well, it's base times height divided by 2. Base times height divided by 2 is going to be 25 times 8 divided by 2. 25 times 8 divided by 2. In my calculator, it tells me that big B, which is what we were just looking at, is 100. So what is the height? The height is what connects the two bases, which is this guy right here, and that's 10. So 100 times 10 is 1,000, and that's for the triangular prism. So you're going to take 3,000, add it to 1,000, and we will get 4,000 cubic feet for the whole barn. Here's another house. So we're going to do the box first, which is not too hard. That's 18 times 30 times 15. So 18 times 30 times 15. And I'm getting 8,100. Now, the triangular prism is a little bit trickier, but we know it's a triangle. I said trickier. Did you hear that? It's a triangular prism. So we need to find the area of the triangle times the height. That's big B, which would be the area of the triangle. So let's see if we can figure this out. Well, this would be the base, and that's going to be 18 times the height of the triangle. You can see that back here is 8 divided by 2. 18 times 8 divided by 2 is 72, and that is big B. So big B is 72. Now I have to take it times the height of the prism, which connects the two bases. That's using the 30 again. So 72 times 30 is 2160. 2160 plus 8,100 is 10,260 feet cubed. It's a little bit sloppy, but I think you'll forgive me. Okay, this time there's a pyramid on the top for a roof instead of a triangular prism. So this one's a little bit different, but you can find the volume of the box. That's not bad at all. So length times width times height for the bottom. That's 5 times 4 times 6, which is 20 times 6, which is 120. Now, how about this pyramid on the top? That's going to be big B times H divided by 3. Big B this time is the bottom of the pyramid, which is the same as the bottom of the box. So big B is going to be the area of the rectangle, which is 4 times 6, or 24. Take it times the height, which was right through the middle, and I kind of covered it up, times 2, divide by 3. 24 times 2, divide by 3, and I get 16 for that guy. So 120 for the bottom, 16 for the top. You add them together, and that's 136. We're talking about inches cubed. Don't know how many more. We got to be getting close. Looks like 3 more. Dang, 3 more. Okay. How about this one? Box on the bottom, pyramid on the top. So the volume of the prism on the bottom is 3 times 9.5. I like to start with the easy ones first. 3 times 9.5. That gives me 85.5 for the bottom. How about the top? Well, that's going to be big B times H divided by 3 because it's a pyramid because of the point on the top. Big B is going to be the area of the base, which is the square on the bottom. So that's going to be 3 times 3, or 9, times the height, which is 3, and then divide by 3. Look at all those 3's. You can actually simplify these out if you want, or you could type them all in. But the volume of the pyramid is just 9, because those 3's would cancel. Add those together, 9 plus 85.5, and I'm getting 94.5 cubic inches for the whole entire thing. Okay, what about this? It's a light fixture that has 2 pyramids stuck together. That's kind of neat. We're going to find the volume of the whole thing. So just find the volume of each pyramid, and then we'll add it together. But they're actually going to be the same 2 pyramids. So that'll make things easier. You can just find the volume of one and double it. Okay, so that's going to be big B times H divided by 3. Big B is going to be the square base area. Big B is going to be the square base, which is 2.5 times 2.5. 2.5 times 2.5 is 6.25. Times the height of the pyramid is 7, and then we're going to divide it by 3. 6.25 times 7 divided by 3 is 14.583, repeating. But there's 2 of them. There's one on the top and one on the bottom. So take it times 2, and we're going to have to round 29.1, let's say 7 inches cubed. Okay, so it looks like maybe you'll get some weird decimals, and that's going to be okay, unless I made a mistake somewhere, but I don't see it. Very similar here. Let's see what we can do. Big B this time is going to be area of the square times H divided by 3. So big B is going to be the area of the square, or 8 times 8, which is 64, times the height, which is 15, divided by 3, because it takes 3 to fill up that prism. 64 times 15 divided by 3, that's 320. But that's just for one of them. Don't forget, there's a top E and a bottom. So you take it times 2, and you're going to get 640, but that's not a choice. Let's try it again. 8 times 8 is 64. Oh, the whole thing is 15, guys. I hope that wasn't the case on the last one. I think it might have been. Okay, so this last one, be careful. The whole thing was 7, so that would have made this 3.5. Okay, I thought they labeled it differently. I thought maybe it was weird that we got that decimal. So we're not going to use 15 here. Instead, this piece from the middle, because it's half, would be half of 15, which would be 15 divided by 2, or 7.5. So 8 times 8 times 7.5. This time we'll divide it by 3. 8 times 8 times 7.5 divided by 3, and we get 160. 160 is for 1, but there's 2 of them, so that's where the 320 comes from. Okay, so I kind of messed up there, so please be careful. And that is it.